Welcome back to my weekly Steam Sale Tuesday. I'm F5 Dad. I got 45 years of gaming experience since 1980. I have learned one thing: patience will pay off. I've got 30 games under $15, and some of these sales are going to end in just 3 days, so I'm going to be moving fast, and I'm going to provide you some great detail on each one. If I mention a game you want, pause the video, grab it. These prices are not going to last, and let's get into it. Up first, we do have Darkest Dungeon for $2, 92% off. This is a roguelike dungeon crawler with permadeath and stress mechanics that's going to break your heroes' minds. It's brutal, it's punishing, and it's one of the best indie games ever made. I can tell you I've put over 100 hours into this game, and at $1.99, this is an absolute no-brainer purchase. If you haven't played it, stop everything and just buy it now. Right behind that, we do have the sequel, Darkest Dungeon 2. It is $12.39. And this one changes the formula with a road trip structure instead of the estate management, improved 3D graphics, and a new relationship mechanics between your heroes. It is a little more focused and streamlined than the first game. Honestly, I actually prefer the first one over the second one, but that doesn't mean it's not a worthy sequel. If you love the first one and want more of the dark, stressful dungeon crawling, this is absolutely worth $12. We got Enter the Gungeon at $5.99. It is a bullet hell roguelike with hundreds of guns, items, and secrets. Every run is going to be different, and the game has an insane amount of content. I've easily seen some people with 500 plus hours in this game, and they are still discovering new synergies and ways to play it. The difficulty curve is steep, but once it clicks, it is incredibly satisfying. Upon its release in 2016, it probably has easily become one of the best indie games out there. I can tell you right now, this game completely rebooted the franchise in 2016 and reminded everyone why Doom is legendary. And that's right, we got Doom 2016. It is a fast, brutal, no-nonsense first-person shooter gameplay with a killer metal soundtrack. The glory kill system keeps combat aggressive. You heal by ripping demons apart. I've beaten the campaign multiple times, and honestly, it just doesn't get old. If you want pure adrenaline-fueled shooting with zero fluff, this is going to be one of the best first-person shooter campaigns out there. $4 is just absurd. We do have Doom Eternal, $7.99. Personally, I think this game is better than Doom 2016. And yes, that is something very hard to do. It does add more movement options, a grappling hook, better enemy variety, and the combat loop is even tighter. Every demon has a weakness that you can simply exploit. The difficulty is higher, but it's incredibly rewarding when you master the system. And did I also mention the soundtrack is also just as good? If you can only buy one Doom game, I would make it Eternal, but $8 for this game is highway robbery. We have another Doom game, Doom 3 at $3.29. This one is going to be different from 2016 and Eternal. It is much slower and it's a little more horror focused. I did play this back in 2004 and I think it did scare the hell out of me when it came out with the flashlight mechanics and the jump scares. It's not as action heavy, but if you want an atmospheric sci-fi horror instead of pure run and gun, the game still does hold up. At $3, it's worth experiencing. Let's move from Doom to Quake 4 at $3.74. It is an old school shooter from 2005. It's the follow-up to Quake 2. Not as good as the Doom games, but it is competent. A single-player campaign with some cool body horror moments and the Strogification scene. If you're a completionist who wants all of id Software's catalog, grab it. Otherwise, I personally think you probably can skip it. But again, at this price, it's fine to pick up. We do have Rage at $2.99. id Software's post-apocalyptic shooter from 2011. It's got that id gunplay feel, but the open world stuff is kind of dated and the ending, honestly, is really abrupt. The shooting mechanics are solid, but the game does kind of feel unfinished. Still, for $3, you're going to get 10 to 12 hours of decent wasteland shooting. If you love id Software, I definitely think it's still worth grabbing on sale. Let's talk about Rage 2. It is at $7.99. This one is way better than the first game. More colorful, more chaotic, better movement with abilities and powers. It's dumb fun, but personally in the best way. The open world is still kind of empty, but the combat is excellent. I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. At this price, if you want brainless action with great gunplay, you're going to have fun with it. We do have Tomb Raider Game of the Year Edition, $2.99. It is the 2013 reboot that transformed Lara Croft into a survival action hero. Excellent combat, exploration, and character development. The island setting is going to be gorgeous, and the climbing mechanics are simply satisfying. This was the game that proved reboots can absolutely work. It does include all DLC at $3. This is one of the best deals in the entire video. Let's continue that theme with Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition at $5.99. This is the third game in the reboot trilogy, best graphics of the three, more stealth-focused gameplay, and it does conclude Laura's origin story. The tombs are excellent, probably the best puzzle designs in the series. Some people think it is weaker than Rise, but honestly, I actually enjoyed this game. $6 with all DLC is simply a solid deal. Bioshock Infinite for $7.49. Look, I know people argue about this one. It is very divisive, but the floating city of Columbia, I personally think is stunning. The story with Elizabeth is engaging, and the combat is fun, even if it's not as deep as the original Bioshock. The ending, yes, is controversial, but it is kind of mind-bending. I think it's worth experiencing just for the world building and the Booker-Elizabeth's relationship. $7.49, I think, is fair for this game. We got Mafia Definitive Edition at $5.99. This is a full remake of the 2002 classic, not a remaster. It is completely built with gorgeous modern visuals, updated gameplay, and the story is still one of the best crime narratives in gaming. If you loved Goodfellas or The Godfather, this game nails that 1930s mobster atmosphere. $6 for this level of quality is simply a steal. Let's talk all Borderlands. We got Borderlands Game of the Year Enhanced, $9.89. This is the original game with visual upgrades, better UI, and all DLC included. The looter shooter that started it all. I had a blast with this game when it came out. The humor, it can be hit or miss, but the core gameplay loop of shooting and looting is still fun in 2026. If you've never played Borderlands, this is where you want to start. $10 is reasonable for the enhanced version. And let's talk about, personally, I think is one of the best in the series. It is Borderlands 2 at $4.99. Handsome Jack is one of gaming's greatest villains. He is charismatic, cruel, and hilarious. The loot system is improved, the environments are more varied, and there's hundreds of hours of content with all of the DLC. I have played through this game with multiple Vault Hunters. $5 is an absolute steal. If you buy one Borderlands game, I think they should be this one. Let's talk about Borderlands pre-sequel for $3.99. Personally, I think it's the weakest entry in the series, but in saying that, it's still not bad. It is set between Borderlands 1 and 2, takes place on the moon with low-gravity mechanics and kind of some oxygen management. The Australian humor, personally, I think is a little polarizing. It's more of the same Borderlands formula without much innovation, but at $4, if you love Borderlands and you want more, I think it's worth it. And my last game around Borderlands is going to be Borderlands 3 at $5.99. This has some of the best gunplay and movement in the entire series. The shooting feels incredible. The problem is the story and the villains were kind of weak compared to Borderlands 2. The Calypso twins just can't compete with Handsome Jack. But if you love the core gameplay loop of shooting and looting, this is peak Borderlands. $6 is a great price for how much content is going to be there. Let's go from shoot and loot to Civilization 6 for $5.99. One of the best 4X strategy games out there. Turn-based empire building where you're going to guide a civilization from the Stone Age to the Space Age. The district system adds strategic depth. The AI is challenging, and there's multiple victory conditions. I have lost so many hours to just one more turn syndrome. If you've never played Civilization, this is the best entry point. $6 is going to be an incredible value. We got Civilization Beyond Earth at $9.99. This is going to be a sci-fi civ colonizing alien planets instead of Earth. Not as good as Civilization 6, as the tech web is confusing at first and the theme is kind of a little less engaging. But if you've exhausted Civ 6 and want more turn-based strategy with a different setting, it is decent. $10 is fair if you're a Civ completionist. We do have XCOM 2 Collection at $9.06. It is a turn-based tactical combat where you're going to command soldiers fighting an alien force. Brutal difficulty, permadeath for your soldiers, and strategic base management. When you lose a veteran soldier, you've had 20 missions, yeah, it hurts. This collection includes all DLC, one of the best strategy games out there, and $9 is a steal for this much content. We got Project Hospital at $9.99. It is a hospital management sim. If you love Theme Hospital from back in the 90s, this is a modern spiritual successor. You're going to build departments, diagnose patients, manage staff, and deal with emergencies. The systems are deep. You actually need to understand some medical procedures. It is a niche type game, but if you love management sims, I think this is going to scratch that itch perfectly. Let's talk Risk of Rain 2, $8.24, third-person roguelike shooter with incredible gameplay. Every run escalates in difficulty. Enemies are going to get harder. You get more powerful, and it just becomes an absolute chaos. The item synergies are going to be insane. I've seen speedrunners break this game in some hilarious ways. Solo is fun, but I hear the co-op with friends is where it shines, and many people still state this is one of the best roguelikes ever made. $8 is going to be a steal. Blasphemous 2 for $9.89. Brutal 2D Metrovania with dark Spanish Catholic religious imagery. The art style is gorgeous and disturbing. Combat's going to be challenging. Parry timing is tight. Bosses are going to be tough. Look, it's not going to be for everyone, as the tone is very grim. But if you love difficult Metrovanias with a unique art direction, fans honestly swear by this series. $10 is reasonable if it's going to be your game style. Let's move from grim to colorful. We got Pac-Man World Re-Pac at $7.49. It is a remake of the PS1 3D platformer. It's nostalgic, colorful, and surprisingly fun. Simple platforming, collectathon gameplay, family-friendly. If you have kids or you want something lighthearted, I think it's a good pick. It's not groundbreaking, but it is charming. I still think $7.49 might be a little high for this game, but if you love the original, grab it. We got Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition at $9.99. 2 full JRPGs in one package. Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. Monster collecting, turn-based combat, and surprisingly complex evolution systems. If you like Pokemon but want something with a more mature theme and deeper mechanics, I think this one's going to be it. The story is cyberpunk detective noir. $10 for 2 games is a pretty solid value. Digimon World Next Order is at $9.59. Now, this is going to be completely different from Cyber Sleuth. It's monster raising, not collecting. Virtual pet mechanics where you actually train and care for 2 Digimon partners. It is very niche and can be a little tedious. Time management's going to be tight, but if you played the original Digimon World on PS1 and loved it, this is going to be a spiritual successor, but I do have to point out, I don't think this game's going to be for everyone, so I do caution. We got Dying Light Essentials Edition at $2.99. Parkour zombie survival with day-night cycle, and nights are going to be very terrifying. The movement's incredible. First-person parkour does feel fluid. Combat starts weak, but it will get satisfying over time. If you love zombies and zombie games and at $3, this is a great value, and simply just buy it. Tiny Tina's Wonderland at $11.99. Borderlands meets Dungeons & Dragons. It does have the Borderlands looter-shooter gameplay, but in a fantasy setting with spells and melee weapons. I think the humor is very Borderlands. Love it or hate it. It's a fun solo, great in co-op if you burned out on the sci-fi Borderlands aesthetic. I think this fantasy twist is going to be refreshing for most. $12 is a fair price. We got Mafia 3 Definitive Edition at $5.99, an open-world crime game set in 1968 New Orleans. The story is going to be fantastic. Lincoln Clay's revenge tale against the Italian mob is very compelling. The problem is the gameplay loop is going to get super repetitive, but you're basically taking over districts over and over with the same missions, but the story, characters, and setting are still pretty strong. $6 is worth it for the narrative alone, and I did have a lot of fun with this game. We got Police Simulator Patrol Officers at $10.19. It's a realistic police work sim. You're going to be writing tickets, doing traffic stops, investigations, accident reports. It is surprisingly detailed and methodical. If you love the Euro and American Truck Simulator style realistic sims, I think this is going to scratch that itch. It is a niche, very slow paced, but for some sim fans, I think it's solid. $10 is okay if you know exactly what you're getting into with this game. Remember, some of these sales end in 3 to 4 days, so I would move fast. Darkest Dungeon 2 and Enter the Gungeon. If you want those, I would grab them now. Every game in this list is going to be linked down in the description. I am back on Thursday and Saturday with more videos, and if you enjoy my Steam sales with real recommendations every Tuesday, hit that subscribe button, like the video. I've been gaming for 45 years. I got over 3,000 games in my Steam profile, and I'm only going to recommend games that's actually worth your money. I'm F5 Dad. Hit F5, reset and reload, and I will see you on the next video.